Hello, second graders. Welcome to reading class with me, Miss Taylor. I'm glad you're here. Alrighty, so let's see. Are we ready to read? Do we have our textbook? Check. Do we have a bookmark or a finger to follow along with? Do we have our workbook? And our workbook is actually a packet for right now. So we have our reading packet. Today we're looking at our lesson 93. And we're going to try to remember to track with our finger, to follow along, to read each word carefully, paying attention to the beginning sounds and the ending sounds, and paying attention to the end marks. Alrighty, especially when we're reading out loud. Those end marks give us a chance to pause so that we're not just reading. So, and our goals are to read with accuracy and expression. So accuracy is like some feeling in our voices. No, that's not right. Expression means feeling in our voices. Accuracy means we're trying to read each word correctly. And that is that, being really careful at reading each word. We are going to understand what's happening in the story, make connections to how characters are feeling, and enjoy the story. All right, we know that reading is thinking. There's so many things that are going on in our brains as we are reading. We are making connections. We're thinking, oh, I felt like that before, or oh, that happened to me once, or oh, I was really cold like that once, like in the story we're reading about the Iditarod sled dog race. So we were talking the last time about how in Alaska, where the Iditarod takes place, it was March. So I think it was March 1st. And the race was going to be on March 15th, and it was like 4 degrees below zero, which is colder than it is in Minnesota right now. And we are in January. It's one of our coldest months in Minnesota, January and February, and but it's even colder in Alaska in the spring, even March. Okay, so we're visualizing, we're kind of painting a picture. Oh, what did those sled dogs look like? What did the team look like? What is the sled and the gang line and the tug lines? So we're kind of getting a picture in our mind and using the pictures from the story and helping us to make that picture. We're asking questions as we read. We're summarizing. We're kind of thinking about, ooh, what happened in that story that I just read? We're predicting, we're inferring, we're synthesizing, so many things going on. Alrighty, before we start the next part of the story, we have a few vocabulary sentences to review. And the first sentence is, I have confidence that we can avoid a long conversation. Now, excuse me, I would like you to read it. I have confidence. 1, 2, 3. Nice job. I have confidence that we can avoid a long conversation. All right, our next sentence says the scuba diver and her partner surfaced near the reef. Your turn. 1, 2, 3. Nice job. And the last sentence we have, the veterinarian gave the dogs a thorough examination. Alrighty, your turn. All right, nice job. And with that last sentence, second graders, what word means an animal doctor? Yeah, veterinarian. What word means nothing is overlooked? Thorough. And what word means a checkup? Yeah, examination. Nice job. All right, so we have some word lists for today. Let's see, we are on page 110 in our books. And let's take a look at column 1. Word 1 is assistant. What word? Yeah, an assistant is someone who helps the person who's in charge. So, for example, a teacher's assistant is a person who helps the teacher. Everyone, what would we call someone who helps a doctor? Yeah, a doctor's assistant. Nice job. Word 2 is certificate. What word? Yeah, a certificate is a paper that proves something. If you have a birth certificate, it proves where and when you were born. A graduation certificate proves where you graduated and when you graduated. Word 3 is health. What word? Your health refers to how well your body is. If you're in good health, your body is well. So, what word refers to how well your body is? Yeah, your health. Word 4 is according. What word? If you do something that follows the rules, you do something according to the rules. If you do something that follows what somebody said, you do that thing according to what somebody said. So everybody, what's another way of saying she was doing things that follow the rules? Yeah, she was doing things according to the rules. Nice job. And word 5 is endurance. What word? Yeah, endurance. Endurance tells how long you can keep doing something. If you have great endurance, you can do it for a long time. So what do you know about someone who can run for a long time? Yeah, they have great endurance. So endurance is kind of like fortitude or perseverance. You just keep going. If you can endure, you can keep going, you can persevere. So if you have endurance, you can keep going. All right, let's try those the fast way. Assistant, certificate, health, according, endurance. Nice job. All right, column 2. Let's see. For column 2, the first part of each word is underlined. And so we will notice that word 1, the first part is night. And the second part is mare. Nightmare. A nightmare is a bad dream. Ooh, a nightmare. All right, we're going to do the other ones a little bit quicker. Okay, word 2 is exchange. What word? Yes, exchange. Oh, exchange is another word for trade. So if you exchange something with someone, you trade. So I'll give you something and then you give me something. Exchange. Word 3 is stiffened. What word? Stiffened, yeah. Word 5 is backwards. What word? Word 5 is inched. What word? Inched. I'm going to inch closer to the camera. And word 6 is examined. What word? Nice job. Let's go to column 3. We'll do these the fast way. Injure, pest, thorough, included, officials, veterinarian. Nice job. Alrighty, so now we have our story, and our story for today is called A Practice Run. So let's take a look at part B in our textbooks. A practice run. All right, fingers and bookmarks ready? We need to make sure we're sitting properly. Let's push a chair a little bit in. All right. The sled was stuck against a rock on the slope. Susie patted Denali's head and said, "Watch carefully so you'll know what to do." Denali stiffened up as he tried to figure out what he was to watch. Can you kind of visualize or imagine Denali? He's like, what should I watch? Chad said, "Wheel dogs, haw!" Denali jumped. At the same time, the pair of dogs just in front of the sled pulled hard to their right. Ooh, so remember, haw means to turn right. The other dogs backed up a little bit. The pulling turned the sled so that it was now facing almost uphill. It was no longer up against a rock. Now Chad shouted 2 more commands. "Haw!" he called out, and the lead dogs moved left. Wait a second. Didn't he call haw? Wait a second. Just which? Oh, haw means to the left, not the right. Wait a second. Oh, I see. So sorry, I need to go back. So the wheel dogs, before he was just talking to the wheel dogs and he said haw to the wheel dogs. But then the pair of dogs just in front of the sled pulled hard to their right, and the other dogs backed up. But yeah, haw means to turn to the left. Wait a second. Let's keep reading. We'll figure this out. Now Chad shouted 2 more commands. Haw, he called out, and the lead dogs moved left. Then he shouted, mush, and all the dogs pulled the sled uphill, away from the rocks. Interesting. So in the first part, he was just talking to the wheel dogs. And the second part, he was talking to all the dogs, but haw means to the left. So haw means to the left. After the sled had gone a little ways, Chad shouted, whoa, stepped on the brake and got off the sled. He ran up to the left lead dog and patted her on the head. Then he patted the wheel dogs and said, good job. He smiled at Susie and said, not one pair of dogs got tangled up. That's great. Okay, so Chad used the wheel dogs to turn the sled. Then the rest of the dogs circled around and pulled the sled uphill. Remember, they were practicing getting unstuck. So if we look at the picture on the next page, we can see that the wheel dogs are pulling the sled free. So remember, the wheel dogs are the ones in the back, right by the sled, and they're pulling it free. Oh, here. Looking at my book. Here they are. They're the wheel dogs. All right, so I wonder what they're going to do next. So now they've freed the sled. They're going to go home or keep practicing. We'll find out. For the next 3 hours, Chad did everything he could to get the sled stuck. Why would he do that? Yeah, to practice. One time, the sled was going across a steep bank when the sled tipped over and Chad went tumbling down the side of the hill. Oops. When he stopped rolling, he sat up, spit out some snow, and began to laugh. So if he's laughing, we can infer, we can figure out he must not be hurt, right? If he's just laughing. As Susie watched, she forgot that she was supposed to hold the leashes of the 2 dogs. When they saw Chad rolling down the hill, they thought Chad was playing. So they raced down the hill. Before Chad could get up, the dogs were all over him, licking his face, growling, and pretending to bite his boots and mittens. Sort of playing. Some of the dogs on the gang line wanted to join in, but the lead dogs did not move, so the team had to stay where it was. Wow, they're really well trained, aren't they? So the other dogs also wanted to play, but they thought, well, the lead dogs are not playing, so we have to stay still. So they're very well trained. All right, so if we look at the picture, we can see that Butch and Denali are jumping all over Chad. So remember, Susie was supposed to be holding Butch and Denali, but she kind of forgot when she saw Chad go rolling down the hill. All righty. A few minutes later, the sled was upright and the team was again pulling the sled across the slope. It turned down to the river, where he again got it stuck between a rock and a tree. This time, Chad could not free the sled, so he unharnessed the team, unloaded the sled, and pulled the sled backwards until it was free. Before hitching the team to the sled again, Chad said, let's try a run with 16 dogs. Because remember, right now they're running with 14 dogs. And so now he's like, ooh, let's try something different and let's do all 16 dogs. Susie felt a big smile form on her face. When Chad ran 16 dogs, they included Denali and Butch. So that means these 2 dogs get to run, Denali and Butch. Both Denali and Butch were wheel dogs. With 16 dogs, the sled went a little faster and could get up the hills with a little less trouble. Chad got the sled stuck against a tree on the slope. Chad gave the dogs the order to wheel. The 4 wheel dogs pulled and strained and snorted, but the sled didn't turn uphill. Come on, wheel dogs, Chad called. Let's see you dig in. Ha, ha. This time the sled inched to the side as the dogs tugged. Then it turned a little more. After 4 more tugs, the sled was free. Chad ran the 16 dogs up, down, and across the slopes of Eagle River Valley. Things went well, except one time. He turned the dogs uphill, and some of the dogs got on the wrong side of their partners. They were all tangled up. I can see how that would happen. Look at all the ropes. They've got the gang line and the tug lines, And they've got all their crisscrossing ropes on their backs. There's a lot of chances to get tangled up. Finally, the team headed back to the truck. Susie was waiting. She said, "The team looks strong with 16 dogs." Chad shook his head and made a face. "The team is stronger, all right," he said, "but it's a lot easier for them to get tangled up on the turns." So Chad is saying, well, yeah, they were stronger with 16 dogs, but there's more chance to get all tangled up. All right, please read the rest of the story to yourself and raise your hand when you're finished. I'll ask you a few questions. All right, if you're not finished reading, please pause the video. Let's see. So why did Susie keep asking questions about Denali being in the race? Yeah, she really wants Denali to be in the race, doesn't she? And what was going to happen tomorrow? Yeah, the dogs were going to be examined by a vet. So they were going to have a thorough checkup by an animal doctor, a veterinarian. And what happens if a dog does not pass the examination? Yeah, the dog can't be in the race. And how long did Susie figure it would take for one vet to examine all the dogs? Yep, about 4 hours. So how could the race officials make it so the examination would not take that long? What could they do to make it take a shorter amount of time? Yeah, maybe they could have more than one veterinarian. Maybe if they have two veterinarians, maybe it would just take 2 hours. So it would be a problem if a dog didn't pass the examination. Do you think all of Chad's dogs are going to pass the examination? Hope so, but we'll see. We'll find out next time. All right, nice work, readers. Let's see. So what you're going to do, you're going to reread the story one more time on your own. You're going to answer the questions at the end of the story, and these questions you do not need to write down, but you should make sure that you can answer them correctly. And then you're going to complete your workbook, and then you're going to read for 20 more minutes. Let's see, and I'm looking at our workbook, our packet, I should say. And let's see, the first one says to get the sled free, Chad first gave commands to the blank dogs. Do you remember which kind of dogs? Yeah, the wheel dogs, right? Alrighty, and remember that for most of the practice that Chad was on today with the dogs, there were 14 dogs. And then at the end, kind of toward the end of the story, he decided to try Denali and Butch. So there were 16 dogs. All right, so let's see. We're going to do 2 complete sentence answers for today, number 8 and number 9. So number 8 says, when were the dogs going to be examined? And we can say, the dogs were going to be examined blank. Number 9 says, what happens if a dog does not pass the examination? And our complete sentence answer can be, if a dog doesn't pass the examination, blah, blah, blah. All right. And then we have for the second page of our homework, we have a crossword puzzle again. So that is where we have some clues and we write like words that go across or down. It looks kind of like this. It's kind of fun. I think what I'll do, I will give you a little bit of help with this because this is still a little bit new for us. You'll also notice I wrote a little note to myself because I was kind of having trouble remembering which direction is which. So I put a little note up here and it says to the left is ha, and to the right is G or G, G. But that helps me to remember because sometimes I get those confused. So to the left is ha, and to the right is G or G. All right. So, second grade readers, I will see you again soon. Bye.